Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Basketball, TITTH number 125. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I got Steve with me on a whole new night here. Basketball on a Thursday, turning up. How we doing, Steve? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
A little bit of a different feel. We were delayed yesterday, couldn't get anything off the ground. We're still missing Blake tonight. He might actually jump in with us at really any point. We'll see what happens here, but still got a good slate of games. How are things going for you on opening day?
I mean, that Cubs jersey just makes me bad looking at it. We lost to probably the worst team in the MLB. So, not
a great start.
It could be worse. Our first game could have been canceled. So
that's true. I mean, it's like snow in some places. So
yeah,
I guess we should just be
really being hit.
Yeah, it's starting to turn up a little bit. But how's everything else going? How's the betting? How's not FanDuel but DraftKings doing? How they treating you?
Yeah, actually really good. I'm on a heater right now.
Let's go.
On what is that? College basketball. So and they were offering round 3. I think it was something like 50% profit boost on all round 3 games. So we cashed in on that. Cashed in on the UFC fight.
Cool.
We'll keep riding.
You took Francis?
Yes, sir. And I picked I picked second round, so I got that. I believe at plus 550.
Let's go. Let's get you onto Octagon Talk one of these nights. Get some picks from you. Let's go. Let's fire up. We'll get into some of our best bets in a bit, but we did want to let you guys know next Wednesday, we're going to have Nick Script from P2W Fantasy on our show. On that show, we're going to be covering a basketball bracket for basketball movies. So if you have any to recommend while you're in the chat, be sure to jump in there and let us know who we should have in our top 16. We're going to do a Sweet 16 of basketball films. Will be a lot of fun. Be sure to check us out next Wednesday. Same time, 7:35 Eastern. Let's jump into some of our best bets for this evening. Steve, you want to go ahead and take yours away?
Yes. So I took the under on Josh Hart rebounds. We had that at 10.5. And then we actually, same game, we went the over on Okiki points, over 11.5. I think that's really doable. We were taking before the show, we were looking at his points, and the minutes are there. He just needs to make the most of it for sure.
Absolutely. He's hit over that number in 4 consecutive games. He's playing over 35 minutes in 3 straight games. Okiki looking like a good fit down there with the Magic. Definitely somebody you want to keep an eye out for in fantasy. We'll jump to him a little bit later once we hit the waiver wire. For my props, I've got over 16.5 points for Rui Hachimura. It looks like he's well on his way to hit that number already. I've got over 6.5 rebounds for Nick Claxton, which I'm not feeling that great about. Thought he was going to get a little bit more playing tonight with playing time this evening with Blake Griffin out of the lineup, but they have put LaMarcus Aldridge already into the starting lineup, so that's really going to be the big factor there is how many minutes Aldridge plays and if Claxton can get on the floor long enough to grab over the 6.5. And then I've got Jokic over 7.5 rebounds. Assists, over 7.5 assists. He is coming off a 5-assist game, but he typically doesn't go back-to-back with those. He's typically hitting at least 8 to 10 assists per game, so I think that one's pretty good money. That whole parlay is paying plus 476, so I'm really confident in that one. Did you have any others, Steve?
No others, but I love that Hachimura pick. It seems like he's kind of coming into his own as of late.
Yep, especially with Bradley Beal being out tonight. There was plenty of upside. I did make that pick before Beal was announced out. He was still a game-time decision, but Hachimura has just been hot. Hachimura has been hot. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah, so he's on my fantasy squad. I added him a few weeks ago. Been rolling with him. Over the 16.5 just seemed too good to be true, so I hammered down on that pretty quickly. If you don't have any other best bets, let's jump over to our Monkey Knife Fight props. If you guys haven't checked out monkeyknifefight.com, be sure to do so. You can use our promo code to the Hizzy to sign up with them today, and they'll match your deposit up to 100% for up to $50. So let's jump into some of these props here. First one up, I really like this first one. Kawhi Leonard over 26.5 points. paired up with Nikola Jokic over 24.5. Where do you stand there, Steve?
So I really actually like that over on Kawhi Leonard over 26.5. And then when I go to Jokic, that one's a little tougher, but I think I'm going to ride the over. I just think that some of the bigs for the Clippers have been a bit banged up. Serge Ibaka we haven't seen here in a while. So I think I'm going to take the over on that. That's kind of a lower number, but I think you could see 26, 27 from him.
Yeah, I like the over for both. Having Paul George out, Serge Ibaka out, we're not sure yet about Marcus Morris. He's a game-time decision. So I think there's plenty of upside for Kawhi to be the X factor in their offense tonight to really drive the scoring, with that sense of urgency that they're going to need, and really just keep them afloat. I do also have Denver in this one, mine too. I think they should be a bigger favorite than they are with the missing pieces for the Clippers this evening. So I like Kawhi a lot there. I like Jokic. Jokic is, I think you're right, is a little bit more questionable after they added Aaron Gordon to the lineup. I think that does prop up some more value for him to hit the under, but I am going to take the over 24.5 as well. I think because Aaron Gordon's in the lineup, they're driving down the number. Let's take advantage of it. Let's go over the top. Next up, we've got the Hawks and the Spurs. Trae Young and DeMar DeRozan in a face-off here. Over 24.5 points for Trae Young and over 20.5 for DeMar DeRozan. What do you like here?
I think I'm going to go same as the first game. I think I might have to take the over on both.
Yeah, I like the over on both as well. The books have this game as a pick'em, so I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think both teams will need their best scorers involved heavily in this one. So give me the over for both in Trae Young and DeMar DeRozan. I think the number is just too low for DeMar DeRozan. I know he doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but at the same time, he's very efficient. Over 20.5 shouldn't be an issue.
Yep, that mid-range game is just too good. I really like that number.
Yeah, I love DeMar's number more, but Trae, I think he's been very reliable. Like I said, I think this is going to be a very close game. Could even go to overtime. If you're telling me right now pregame that this game goes to overtime, I'm hammering down Trae Young over 24.5 points. Let's go. Next game up, we've got another close one here, which is going to be the real theme of the night. A lot of close matchups. Steph Curry versus Jimmy Butler in a points race. Over 24.5 points, 25.5 points for Steph. Over 20.5 for Jimmy. Steph is really close for me. I'm going to take the under for him, under 25.5, and I'm going to take the over 20.5 for Jimmy. What do you think?
So you're taking the over on Jimmy, under on Steph?
I know, it's weird. I know.
Yeah. I think I like the over on Steph. I was looking at DraftKings book, and they really had it under 27.5. I like the under 27.5, but I think I'm going to like the over 27.5 or 25.5 for Steph there. That's a terribly low number for Jimmy, but I mean, really, he hasn't been putting up as we know Jimmy Butler can do. So what's he's got? He's got to hit 19. I don't know. I don't want to do this for everyone. Over on both of them.
He's going to have Kelly Oubre on him tonight. Like, I think there's going to be a little bit more availability for him, and I think the Heat are going to roll out Oladipo on Steph. Not saying that that's going to like slow him down a lot, but I think that he misses a few extra jumpers on the outside. I think that's going to be a better matchup for him. I cannot believe that they would throw out Kendrick Nunn on Steph. I mean, if they had Goran Dragic in the game, they're probably feeling a lot more comfortable about it. I would feel a lot more comfortable with that, going to the under. I mean, it's still Steph Curry at the end of the day. But I do think that they put Oladipo on him to slow him down a little bit. All right, last one here. We've got Kyrie Irving over 27.5 points going up against Terry Rozier over 21.5, over under 21.5. What do you think?
So just because Kyrie had such a good game last night, I think he dropped 30 or more. I think I have to take the under there. I'm a big Kyrie fan, but it's just kind of how it plays out, where he goes off one night and then the next night I'm sure he'll still 25 is not out of the picture for him, but over 27.5, I don't think he'll get there. I'm going to go the over though on Terry Rozier. I don't know who's going to be able to stop him for the Nets. And that's a relatively low number. You're not asking him to do anything too crazy. So I'm going to go under over on that one.
Yeah, he's going to have to be answering the call up against Bruce Brown and Joe Harris. I like that a lot. I would be looking at Gordon Hayward props tonight, too. I think he could be in line for a big night, potentially over 30 points. I like that. I'm going to go exactly the same way. I'm going to go under for under for Kyrie and over for Terry. I like that a lot. All right, guys, if you haven't checked out monkeyknifefight.com already, be sure to do so. You can use our promo code to the Hizzy to sign up today and check them out whenever you can. Appreciate it, guys. I also have Nikhila Alexander over 20.5 points plus Terrence Ross over 17.5. We didn't get to that one, but I like that one a lot as well. It's one of my favorites. Paying out 3x, 20 to 60. All right, let's go. Let's clock into the early lines here. Check out some of these games. First up, we've got the 76ers traveling to Cleveland, coming in as road favorites, minus 9.5 on the road, minus 475 on the money line. Over under in this game is 210 points. What are you thinking, Steve? I mean, this is the biggest favorite on the board here with the 76ers over the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And just to be sure, we got Joel Embiid right back tonight.
Oh, don't tell me that. Did it happen? Because he's on my fantasy team.
I saw that he was. They announced when he's going to return. So if it's not tonight, maybe it's Saturday. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Sure. I keep thinking today's Friday. So you know what? That might be on me.
Today's Thursday, Steve. Today's Thursday.
I'm off work tomorrow, so we're good.
All right. Well, I mean, I'll be at work, but work will be dead as good. It'll be dead as Good Friday. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, Joel Embiid looks like he'll be back Saturday, not tonight. You got me all worried. Okay. Looks like right now they're up by 6 because you made me get to the phone. You made me check, so now we got to know. So right now, Cleveland is covering the 9.5. Pre-game, I still would have said that the 76ers would cover 9.5 points. Cleveland's been pretty bad. I think they're going to be missing Jared Allen tonight. I don't know if you have that up in front of you. But 76ers have been really good despite not having Joel Embiid on the floor, really highlighting their depth. I mean, any upside you have for Cleveland taking this one out or covering the whole game?
No, not really. I mean, I think I'm going to take the Sixers, take the better team. Mm-hmm. I think you ride with Philly in this case.
Yeah, I don't have the under live numbers up in front of me, but that is the trend. Both teams, well, not both. Was it Philly 5-1 in their last 6 to the under, 4-1 for Cleveland in their last 5 to the under. So there's a lot of value here for the under right now. What was it? 41-33 with about 8:30 left in the second. I would still be feeling the under. Cleveland doesn't look like they're going to be playing their role here, and they could stall at any time. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that especially in that third quarter is really, I feel like, in my opinion, what makes or breaks an over-under. Just how a team comes out from half. With Cleveland, you always got to be worried about them kind of sputtering out. So I'm taking the under there.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's move on. Next one up, we've got Washington traveling to Detroit. Washington Wizards coming in as the road favorite, minus 2.5 on the spread, minus 140 on the money line. Over under is 222 points. Bradley Beal out of the game. I have to imagine they adjusted that number, but I would be on the under 222. Where are you at with this one?
Yeah, I do agree with the under. I mean, you're getting two teams who aren't necessarily too great, and I actually really like the Pistons in this game. I feel like it's one of those normal Piston games where they ruin, I don't know, your parlay or any bet you think is an easy cash. They kind of just play.
Anytime they play the Bulls.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think I'm on them money or them spread, yes. Yeah. And then I like the under, no Bradley Beal. Hopefully he grabbed it before he was ruled out because it'd be looking even better.
Yeah, and Detroit plays really well up against the Wizards at home. The Wizards are 1-4 ATS in their last 5 when visiting Detroit. So I like Detroit on the spread as well. Moneyline, don't really want to touch it. There's a lot of questions in this game. Obviously, the Wizards, they have new pieces there. They're missing Beal. Detroit, they've been making moves. They've been fine-tuning the lineup, not really playing for anything either. So it's not really somewhere where I'm trying to go and lay heavy money on the money line. Give me Detroit on the spread. I think there's a little bit more value there, especially with Beal out. All right, next up, we've got the Charlotte Hornets visiting Brooklyn, coming in as 3-point dogs, plus 135 on the money line. Brooklyn minus 155 on the money line. Over under is at 224. I took Charlotte in this one. I really like them to upset. I think that the safer pick is to take Charlotte on the points. But the Nets, they've been winning a lot, 8-2 in their last 10, but only 2-8 ATS on the spread in their last 10. So I think the play here is Charlotte on the spread here. I think I got them at plus. I got them at +2. Line moved up to +3, so it's looking like that's in my favor here.
Yeah, Charlotte 5-0 against the spread in their last 5, and then you have, when you look at Brooklyn, they're damn near the complete reverse opposite. I like that. You have no Harden, no Durant, obviously. I think that Charlotte. Actually, I think you could take Charlotte money line, and it'd be a strong bet.
I had it in my best bet tonight with Denver -2, and I took it out. It was a $10 difference, for the bet. I just feel safer with it. Like you mentioned, Charlotte, they've been covering recently 7-3 ATS in their last 10. So that gives me a lot of confidence. I feel good about that. They've been playing surprisingly well without LaMelo Ball. So hopefully that will continue to go. Like I said, we're both on the Rozier prop tonight. I like Gordon Hayward tonight. I think he's going to be in line for a big night. I think that Charlotte could win this one big, actually, handedly by like 8 or 10 points. We'll see what we get out of the Nets. If you didn't hear earlier, if you're just jumping in, LaMarcus Aldridge will be starting tonight. We have Blake Griffin out. We already knew that obviously Kevin Durant was going to be out, that he wasn't coming back, and we have James Harden out. So I think there is plenty of upside here for Charlotte tonight. I think they'll take it to them. What do you think about the total? It was at 224. I like the under.
224. Got to do some math in my head. So we're looking at like 112 down the middle. Yeah.
Charlotte 6-1 in their last 7 to the under. Brooklyn 5-1 in their last 6.
Yeah, I mean, right there, just follow the trend. I mean, you can't find 2 better teams that are probably going toward the under. And no James Harden. It's a recipe perfect for it. So take the under.
Yep, I like it a lot. All right, next up, we've got Golden State traveling all the way down to Miami. Viva la Miami. Golden State coming in as road dogs, +2.5 on the spread, +119 on the money line. Total here is at 219 points. Miami is a home favorite of -139 on the money line. What do you think here? This is another really close one. I
think I'm going to ride with the Heat here. I think you get Oladipo back from being sick. You kind of get to see the first bit of him with Jimmy. I really like this. I think they'll be out for some blood here.
Yeah, I like Miami as well. I'm going to take them to cover the 2, not the 2.5. I'm going to buy down that extra half point, play a little bit safer. The money line value is nice at -139, but I'm going to take the 2 points here. I do think that they can cover. Give me the under as well. I think this is going to be a weird game for Golden State. I feel like they're going to be a little bit out of sorts, all the way across the coast in Miami. Like I told you earlier, I'm on the under for Steph Curry's points tonight. So I think it's going to be a weird one, something we're not expecting from Golden State. And I think they lay an egg, which at times they've done.
Definitely.
What do you think about the total of 219?
I like it to go over, actually. I think you're getting it at a perfect number right there. And I like the over on that. I think Golden State will chip in their points, but I'm expecting a big game from the Heat, so I like the over.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if the Heat rise to the top here, both teams lending to the under. Miami 10-5 in their last 15, and Golden State 5-2 in their last 7. It's gonna be close. All right, next up, we've got the Orlando Magic, the new look Orlando Magic, traveling to New Orleans, coming in as 9-point dogs, +9 on the spread, +320 on the money line. Over-under here is at 217.5. New Orleans, still a heavy favorite at -400. I think that has to be adjusted with Zion out. Let me see here.
I think right now
it's down to -210. Yeah, so that's adjusted quite a bit, and I'm actually looking at a 5-point spread.
I think the spread adjusted as well.
Yeah, it had to. That was an early line that we had there. I'm kind of liking the Magic in here. Obviously, the book is starting to show them some love. I like them at the +5. This is a team that just beat the Clippers.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think if they can come out strong like they did against the Clippers, they should have no problem. Surprising this Pelicans team without Zion. I I actually really like them. They've added some new pieces. We'll talk about it later in the show as well with the trades that they've made. And I think they could come out and very well shock the Pelicans. Pelicans struggling team from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way that their lineup's looking right now. And New Orleans, they do not play defense. I like Nikhila Alexander to go over the number tonight because New Orleans, they love hitting the over. They love scoring points, but they can't play a lick of defense. So their games are always high scoring. I'm hoping it's going to be the same thing tonight, but the Magic have actually been playing, decent defense. They've got some new hitters, so, pun per the day, right? They've got some new big hitters, and I think they're going to take it to them. Give me the Magic at +5 on the spread. If you're feeling lucky, take them on the money line. But I think the +5 is a safe pick tonight. What do you think about the 212, the total?
I think I'm going to take the over. You kind of alluded to it. Neither team plays that great a defense. I think Magic probably play a little grittier style of ball than the Pelicans. I like the over there.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go to the under. It's just because it seems like it should point in that direction, right? Like everything I feel says to go to the over, so going to the under, and the trends say that as well. So
hey, if I did that with most of my bets, I'd probably win a lot more.
I do that a lot, man. I do that a lot, and believe me, when you hit it, it feels good because it's like, hey. You checked yourself, you
fade yourself.
Exactly. Well, not fade yourself, but you were patient, you know what I mean? Like you took your time with it. You didn't just like say, oh, this should hit like this because of my perception. Like you dug in a little bit, whatever made you change your mind. It's, it's not literally just like, oh, that's my pick. Let's go Oppo. let's just turn this bus around. I mean, you look at something that says, maybe I need to check that. New Orleans 5-1 to the under in their last 6. Orlando 7-3 in their last 10 to the under. Well, maybe I'm just chasing the trend. All right, last one up here. Or no, we got 2 more actually. I'm sorry. We got Atlanta +1.5 on the road going to San Antonio. This was actually a pick 'em for most of the day, and it pretty much still is. So Atlanta -105 on the money line, and San Antonio -115. Totals at 223 here. What do you think, Steve?
Sheesh. I don't. Honestly, this one, being a pick-em makes total sense. I think I probably lean the Hawks just a little bit. I think they're the better team out of the 2. But being on the road, I think that is definitely something that can make a difference. But I'm going to ride taking the points with Atlanta. And what number was the over-under it? 223?
Excuse me. 223, yes.
I think I like the under.
Yeah, I'll stick with the under. Honestly, I don't like the total, to be honest with you. I think we should probably live bet that one. I think that feels a little too high because San Antonio, they play pretty solid defense. I feel like they could come out and really set a slow pace for Atlanta. If they can really lock up Trae Young early on, they could really slow things down. So I'm going to stay away from the total pregame, and I'll wait for that one to get live and play with it from there. In the game, I do like the Hawks more, and the fact that I can get the plus option on them now, I like that a lot. So give me the Hawks for sure. 6-4 straight up in their last 10. San Antonio only 5-5. It's going to be a tight. It's going to be a tight game, and like I said earlier, this game could go to overtime. That's why I have a little bit more upside for Trae Young to hit his monkey knife fight prop. So
I think this is like a perfect yin and yang type thing. You have a more defensive team in the Spurs, and then you have a team who, from times, they look like a great offensive team. So I think it's a good game.
And San Antonio just beat Sacramento, who I think plays a very similar stylistic offense to Atlanta. So I do feel like they're going to be prepared for this one. So there is upside for the Spurs, but I do like the scoring options. It's just a little bit more for Atlanta. And I like Trae Young. I mean, he's the star of the game. DeRozan's in there, but DeRozan isn't a 3-point shooter. Trae Young has a lot of weapons on the outside still. So I like Atlanta in this one. Give me them at the +1.5. All right, next one up, and it was weird because I thought the Atlanta game was last, but we've got Denver here. They took it off the board and they put it back on, gave us a point adjusted adjustment here with Denver going from 2.5 all the way down to -1. So the book's giving the Clippers a little bit more upside here late as they come in as the +1 option at home, +100 at home, but they're missing everybody. Paul George, Pat Beverly, Serge Ibaka. Help me out here. Who else? Rajon Rondo, Marcus Morris is still a game-time decision.
We don't know about that one. Let's see who else. I mean, when you look at the two lists, Patrick Beverly, Morris, George, Ibaka, Rondo, all out. And then when you go over to the Nuggets, really all they got out is Monty Morris, who no big deal. Yeah, I mean, you added Aaron Gordon. I think you're fine.
Yeah, I do. I think that this game, I think it's tough for the books because the fact that Aaron Gordon is still so new to the team. Like, how do we make this adjustment, right? And they literally they just took it out. And as a matter of fact, they're also removing this game. This is betonline.ag. They're removing this game from being entered into parlays now too. They've given it the out. So that's interesting. They're locking this one up. Looks like they've got some heavy money coming in on it right now, and they're going to hold the cards close until whatever they get better information. We'll see. All right, cool. Let's jump out of those games. We'll dip back into there for some live betting to close out the show here once we get a little bit more action started. Steve, why don't you take us away with our fantasy waiver wire? Who are some of our top options here? I'm going to get the Charlotte game pulled up.
Yeah, so first up, we got Detroit Pistons, Corey Joseph, point guard. It's been going off the past couple of nights. We've seen back-to-back nights of double-digit points. What do you like about Corey Joseph?
I mean, he's filling the stats, man. Points, assists, rebounds, steals. Had a block a couple of games ago. Doesn't get too many blocks, but, I mean, he's filling out all the categories, So if you're playing categories, only 6% owned. I mean, stream him until he gives you a reason not to.
100%. I think if you get him, I mean, it doesn't matter. Anyone on the Pistons can have their time. So I think he's a perfect ad option for streaming, and I think you can find some for the next week, maybe week and a half. You'll find some play out of him. Is
the league that you're in with me the only league that you're in?
That's my only league, yeah, basketball-wise.
I'm in another league. Shout out the River Valley Conference, which, I mean, I don't know why I got in this league.
RVC.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. That's the only reason I got in this league is because it had a cool fucking name. Let me tell you, I saw like the parameters, all the rules and everything. I was like, I'd like a couple extra utility spots. I'd like another ad per week, but this damn name is such a good name. I want to win it. You want to be able to say, Steve, that you won the River Valley Conference. I won the RVC this year. So I signed up like an idiot, and I'm in 7th. Ooh. And I'm like in 4 games away out of the next spot, but this is our last week of the season, of the regular season, so I'm going to be out.
So you're the first one out, huh?
I'm going to be the first one out. Yeah. I mean, we've got tough. We don't have any cool NBA play-in brackets. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to be out. Like the guy that I'm playing, I'm going to beat him. I'm winning like 7-2 right now, have been all week. But the guy that's ahead of me, he's winning by the same margin, and he's 4 games up. And I'm like, I'm holding my hands up like I'm not winning the RVC this year. Yeah, no RVC for me. Oh, man, it sucks. I went through a bad stretch of like missing Tatum, and then Devin Booker was out a week. I was like, man, killing me, missing the stars. So
I mean, if you really think about it, injuries this year have already been enough, and then early in the season, you're fighting COVID, contact tracing. It's a tough year. I would definitely agree with you on that.
No, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable with my 3rd place in our league. To be perfectly honest with you, I would prefer to kind of get bumped to 4th or 5th place. I'm not going to lie.
I thought you were slipping for a little bit. I thought I might be able to catch you, and then next thing you know, I went the complete opposite way, and I'm literally scratching and clawing at making the playoffs. So I like your team in that one.
We got to look out for the Jacobs household, man. Blake and his wife, they are storming into the playoffs.
Exactly.
And I'm a little concerned. I'm trying to avoid them as much as possible until the championship week. And Hell, my wife beat Cat Got Your Tongue, so I'm all about that, dude. Like, let's go, bro. Let's roll.
There. I think she could, if my team keeps falling, she could definitely make a push for that last spot. I just hope that I hang on just by that Ja Morant pickup. I hope.
Well, she's got weeks left, unlike me. I'm chasing, over here trying to make my way into the playoffs in one league. She's got time for sure. So, she's definitely hungry right now. I tell Slack when she lost to me, and I don't think she's lost. I think she's lost like one game since then.
She against me, she put the daggers in me. So good for her.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at Brooklyn up right now, big over Charlotte. So that Charlotte pick's looking terrible, just freaking awful right now. 27-9. Ooh, Charlotte, have a comeback. Nets, stop playing defense. Stop it. All right, we got a little off there with the fantasy stuff, but it's kind of the whole point, I suppose. Reggie Jackson isn't percent owned. He's going to be starting tonight. There's a little bit more upside for him, especially this evening. So it could just be a stream play for the week. He's got a game this evening. Got a game on the 4th, so he'll at least get one more in for you. Just at least one more in this week. But in his last game, 15 points, 7 assists. Got to love it. 34 minutes. Going to get a ton of minutes tonight, a lot of action. In 22 minutes in his previous game, he had 20 points. Didn't stack in a lot of other stats, only 2 rebounds and 3 assists. But with the availability, I got to plug him in. What do you think?
Yeah, I think moving forward here from not just this week and moving forward, if he's available, and I mean the Clippers, I feel like they love to rest players. And then you also saw Lou Williams shipped out of town, which we'll touch on later. But I think you could really, if you're selective with Reggie Jackson, I mean, in his last 4, he's had double digits in all 4. What was that look for?
Just Charlotte missing open shots, just like easy, like little buckets under the layup. Like when you're playing, NBA My Player and you're like 9 for 9 and you take like a little open shot under the basket and just like rims out. It was that shit. It was that garbage nonsense. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. I do like Reggie Jackson from time to time. Don't think he's going to be there for too long necessarily, that where he's at this high of a level. But I think from now on and moving forward, if you can kind of pick your spots with him, he'll be good.
Yeah, I like him, especially for this game and the next, hopefully. Next up, we've got a really big spot start here. Isaiah Hartenstein for the Cleveland Cavaliers, coming off a 26-minute performance, 1 3-pointer, 5 points, but good golly, 14 rebounds and 7 assists and a block. Are you buying? Are you in?
At first, when I was scrolling through, I was about to say who, but I mean, I'm looking at that last game. He took 26 minutes. He took, he put up 14 rebounds. Blocks are always in there. I mean, spot start. I'll take him.
Absolutely. I'm all about him. Give me a reason until he's not, essentially, right? Kevin Love is coming back tonight. That could be worrisome. Everybody look out. My wife picked up Kevin Love. If he goes on a tear, we're all in big trouble. We're all in big, big trouble. I'm not betting on that, though. I think he'll have moderate points tonight, limited production, but a good playoff stash too. Kevin Love, I don't think he's actually on this list, but it looks like he's going to be playing tonight. So I think you get in on him before he plays. I think, I think he has enough name behind him that you can get him on your roster. My God, Charlotte just missing open threes. It's not going to be my night. Hopefully the player props hit because, man, ouch, burning down the parlay already. Charlotte killing me. Ugh. All right, next up, we've got Jaden McDaniels, 22% rostered with the Minnesota Timberwolves. A lot of minutes, Steve. Just a lot of minutes. Can you give me a reason not to own this guy? He's playing a ton.
Well, you know who's in that 22% rostered? Your boy. I picked him up last night, 2 nights ago.
Nice.
And he dumps in. He does it in all categories and really 4 blocks his last game. I mean, you don't get that type of production from anyone. And I really could care less about points, but I mean, just in rebounds and kind of more of those, like what I consider grit, grind stats, you get steals, you get blocks. And then from a power forward, you get a few assists from time to time. I don't see how
from a power forward.
That's also very fair on a team that is just looking to do for anyone to put in the basket. They don't care if you're a big name, a rookie, a veteran. They just want anyone to do it because they are.
You want to play 35
garbage.
minutes? You want to play 35 minutes? You want to play 35 minutes? Get the hell out there. Let's go. Get out there. Yeah, I mean, he's playing a ton. He's filling out the stat sheet. 3-pointers, points, rebounds, the assists, not so much. I mean, they were there the last game. I don't expect that to be there, but the defense is there. Whether he's getting steals or blocks, he's going to contribute something in those categories. So I think he's a lock to be rostered right now. 22% is disrespectful to Jaden McDaniels at this point. At least over his last 5 games, like, people need to get in on this dude. Good ad. Next guy up, we've got Hamidou Diallo, now playing with the Detroit Pistons, only 30% owned. I think this guy's going to get a lot of playing time. He's coming off a 27-point performance. We've seen what he can do in Oklahoma. I think there's a lot of upside for him. His last game, 19 and 10.
Yeah, I agree on that front. I actually had him when he was on the Thunder. Then he hit a bit of a spell of injuries when he's still on the Thunder, and the next thing you know, he got traded. I think for him, this was probably a perfect storm. He can go over to Detroit. Kind of, I mean, same. I guess it's similar to where he was at in Oklahoma City, but yeah. I think they'll give him the keys and kind of be like, "Hey, ball out."
We've got no one else here, so go ahead.
At some point, you got to kind of just throw in the towel and say, "Hey, he's got the ability." I've seen flashes from him that have definitely impressed me compared to some others.
And don't get me wrong, I like some of these players for Detroit. But I like them like how I like fantasy players. You know, they need a star. Like Jeremy Grant, he's not a star. Maybe he's a Robin someday, but he's not a star. Sadiq Bey, I like a lot, but he's nowhere near where he's, where we think he could potentially be with his career. He's still a rookie. Mason Plumley, like him a lot, but not elite, right? In the paint, good, but not elite. A lot of good but not great guys. And add Hamidou Diallo to that mix. I think they got something cooking there, but they're going to need to add a star. And we've actually been, hearing in recent days about how some of these stars and their agents kind of attack these small market teams and just say, "Hey, like, we're not here to play. We were here to, sign, get a paycheck, and now it's time to, move on to a super team. Let us out, give us a buyout, or I'm not going to bring you star players anymore."
I think Diallo, I really like him though. I mean, he's so young. Where I'm not ready to write him off to not. I agree with you. I guess not star necessarily, but I think down the road we could be having different discussions about him being a everyday starter for some team.
Well, I think what people in the NBA are looking at players like, you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? To me, he's very similar to Hamidou Diallo, which was kind of surprising why they even gave him up, because it's just like, man, I've got 2 of these guys that can do very similar things. But if you've got 2, then you don't have 1, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about
fair.
that. We've talked about that in fantasy. Like, you got like 3 tight ends on a team. You don't have 1. You know what I mean? I.e. the Buffalo Bills, i.e. the Seattle Seahawks, teams like that. You got 3, you don't got 1. You don't know who you have, right? So maybe it was a situation like that, and they just knew that he wasn't going to get the minutes. He wasn't going to be able to flourish. Let's get something back for this guy, and maybe he is still a level behind Shai. But I think you look at a guy like him, and you see like, okay, maybe these draft picks do matter, right? And that's going to be a big theme of our next conversation in the trade deadline is, the real value of these draft picks. Because you look at a guy like that and like, well, he wasn't a top end draft pick, but he's really developed into something because he's a worker. He's just in the gym, just being a gym rat, being a dog, really developing his shot, really developing his game. And some young players aren't those guys, i.e. Lonzo Ball. He's that guy, in my opinion. Or just players that come in, they get a hot head from the media, and they just they don't care about their game, so it goes down, right? But yeah, I think that in that situation over there in Detroit, I think he could flourish. As far as an ad in fantasy, he's only 30% owned. Like he was producing at times in Oklahoma. He just wasn't getting enough minutes. So I think we got to go out and get him. I think he needs to be owned for sure. 30% owned. Definitely. I think it's just too low. All right, let's move on here. Next up, we've got Kelly Olynyk. Reviving his role now. I think now he's going to be on the bench in Houston, but still been playing very well. Only 47% roster. That's kind of a high number. But coming off a 34-minute game, 25 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. Just stuff in the stat sheet like he's back in Boston. I want every bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, back in Boston, I'm sure it looks nothing like Boston for him. But I get from production-wise, yeah, I mean, he's worth a dart throw just because that Rockets team is garbage.
But it's bad.
It's
Stinky
garbage. And
poo-poo.
when
It's
you
hot
get
garbage.
a guy whose last game he got 34 minutes, game before that 25, I mean, he's going to be eating minutes. So yeah, I think that's an ad, especially for someone like me who was hurting for rebounds earlier in the season. If you're hurting for rebounds, there's your guy.
Absolutely. I'm going to skip down the list a little bit here because some of those guys that we did cover did have some recent games. So Thomas Zadaransky, I know he had a really good game up against Phoenix, but the game before that still had over 30 points, 14 points, 8 assists. I know he had 7 assists last night against Phoenix. He's a guy that we absolutely have to own, guys. Like, he is only 19% rostered. He has been on our fantasy waiver wire in this segment 3 weeks running, and no one is adjusting. Like, no one is overwhelmingly picking this guy up. I think the ad of Vucevic is actually going to keep Zadaransky on the floor more because they are going to want more of a distributor with size and defense. So I think Zadaransky really solidifies his role with Vucevic coming over because, guys, you got to keep in mind the Bulls are live options here in the playoffs. We're taking 10 seeds to the playoffs. They're 9 and 10 are going to play each other to play in for 8. 7 and 8 are going to play each other for who is the 7 and 8 seed, where they match up in the playoffs. So they are still alive in this thing. I think that they're really going to try and push this guy to develop into a bigger minutes figure on this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think you see him getting some play. If the Bulls were smart, though, just take all of Arcidiacono's minutes and just move them to Zadaransky, because I'm sorry,
exactly.
I'm especially with, we just saw Kobe White banged up a little bit earlier in the week, and I do not need to see any more of Arcidiacono. I know he's not going to be very good. Good for him for making it this far in the season, especially after getting COVID, everything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think Zadaransky, if he wasn't sick at the beginning of the year, he had COVID early in the year. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd be talking about him. You'd see that number of 90% rostered way higher. So,
absolutely.
I mean, assists-wise, he gets it done. You're always kind of good for like a 8-8 type night from him.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think his numbers are going to continue to climb, especially with Vooch there. I think that pick and roll, pick and pop offense is going to be a lot more lively.
Agreed.
All right, let's continue to jump through these. Chuma Okiki for the Orlando Magic. He is actually growing quite a bit of popularity here, 43% owned. When I got him, he was closer in the 20s. Steve has his prop of over 11.5 points. We'll probably follow up on that here in a little bit. But in his last, 3 games, over 28 minutes, over 30, over 37, 18, 14, 22 points, adding in the rebounds, adding in the assists, playing defense. I love this guy. I had him in fantasy. I know that you didn't get him anywhere because you just told me you're only in one league in my league. But, I mean, I love this guy. I mean, you took the prop on him, so you're liking him too. And
on a team that I feel like they kind of hit their whole reset button because they had injuries early in the year, trading their star center away.
Everybody. Trading everything.
I think they did the right thing, in my opinion. I really like what they did there. And I think give him more run. You've seen what he's been able to do in just right about 30 minutes. I mean, you give him any more, you're maybe building for your future, which is exactly what they want to do. So I like him. I'd say, definitely go out and add him if he's not already rostered in your league.
Yeah, I mean, really quickly, just to close it out, I mean, Okiki, Birch, Bamba, any of those guys, really, because they're all getting more playing time. They're all getting a ton of minutes down there in the paint. If you need rebounds, if you need points, if you need defense, steals, blocks, those are the guys to own. I mean, it just depends on the depth of your league. Okiki's the guy, in my opinion, and then I would go probably Bamba and then Birch. I mean, it really just depends on who's getting the minutes and how that's shaking out. But 3 of those guys should be available for you in fantasy. I think those are all great live options for you. All right, you got any others you want to sprinkle in there, Steve?
No, I really think we hit some of the bulk, or some of these also are people who we missed the boat on, like week or 2 ago. Moses Brown, obviously, he's come back down to earth a little bit, but he shows that he's going to be a good talent for that Thunder team.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, just with Al Horford being shut down for the year, I mean, that's just plenty enough upside. But he was really producing even before that happened. So, yeah, Moses Brown's a solid one. Yeah, I mean, really, realistically, like any of these teams that have had shakeups, that are getting minute readjustments, there's a lot of season left, guys. So go and check those out. We're going to jump now into some of the trade deadline talk, some of these new rosters, how they're looking, and kind of how some of them came to be, and some winners and losers in some of these trades. If you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and like and share the video, and follow us on YouTube /Take It to the Hizzy. All right, let's jump into it here. First one up, we've got the Magic trading Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets. In this trade, we saw the Magic get Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and future first-round picks. I'm guessing at least 2. I'm not sure if you know how many. The Nuggets get Gary Clark, whatever, but the stud and Aaron Gordon to try and make a good run here. I have to feel like the Nuggets won this trade. Any upside other than the picks to the Magic?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that the Nuggets did win it. I think it was actually, a good trade for both teams. Aaron Gordon obviously wasn't going to be doing anything for the Magic's future. We've seen him there for plenty long, where we see what he is. I guess I'm not too crazy on him going to the Nuggets. I do think it's good that the Nuggets made a push to go get somebody, because they knew that their roster that they have now wasn't quite enough. I just don't know if Aaron Gordon's the guy that's really going to get him over that hump. But I guess I like it for all parties involved. I think RJ Hampton, drafted later in the first round, I believe. I think he could have some talent for the Magic moving forward.
I think it's a big win for the Nuggets, because I think that it's a good way to combat the Jazz, who I think that they feel like they're bound to meet in the playoffs. If you look at the Jazz starting lineup, obviously you got Mike Conley and Donnie Mitchell up at the top, but Bogdanovich and Royce O'Neal can be a problem for people. And I think Aaron Gordon is a solid player to take on that role, to shut those guys down, and can also help shut down a guy like Rudy Gobert in the paint, because he can add some size down there with Jokic, who is solid in the paint, but he lacks a little bit of strength inside, right? Like he's still kind of a lankier body, especially since he trimmed down after COVID. So I think that he does add a lot of layers to their game, especially just being a starter, giving them more depth in general. So yeah, I absolutely love it for them. For the Magic, I mean, it's just a roster dump, right? We saw Evan Fournier take off to Boston. We saw Vooch land to the Bulls. We'll get to it in a minute. But we just saw a house clearing for picks, right? And I'm interested to see what they can do with them. I feel like these teams essentially are just stashing all these picks for trying to get into a top 5 situation at any time, because realistically, that's what these drafts are. It's like 4 and done, 3 and done drafts. And if you have that haul of picks, maybe you can lure one of those guys out of those spots. Maybe they're in a situation. Go ahead.
No, you got it. I got it. I'll wrap it up. You got it.
I was just going to say, those quick 3 and done, 4 and done drafts, you can attack those spots and maybe find a team that says, we've got a stud guard coming out, but we're loaded already. We've already got guards. We need big guys. We'll trade out. We'll take a whole load of picks, and we'll just come back to this spot same time next year and try to attack the top 5 again, whatever it is.
Definitely. I mean, I agree with it. You see it. We've seen it for the past couple of years. It's top heavy. This is so far different from what an NFL draft is. Obviously, rounds everything, but there's only a handful of good people from year to year that can be one of those talents that's good enough to put your team anchor your team and actually be a good player,
or at least be good enough to where the team just feels perfectly safe making that pick, just perfectly comfortable, kind of like LaMelo Ball going to the Hornets. I feel like they were just we can't screw this pick up, and then the Bulls follow up with we're drafting Patrick Williams. We have huge balls. We have the biggest balls in this draft. We're taking Patrick Williams at number 4, right? When we could have taken Halliburton, but maybe that seemed like more of a perceived risk just based on his game, right? But I mean, give all the credit to the world and the Bulls and Patrick Williams, but Halliburton was the pick after Ball, if not ahead of Ball, or whatever. We'll see how this draft shakes up in the years to come. But at the same time, you're either going to make a stand with a pick like that, or you're just going to take the safest option, which I feel like teams just do, i.e. the Lakers and Lonzo Ball. I know I'm picking on Lonzo a lot tonight, but sorry. Just low-hanging fruit. Sorry, Lonzo. Just low-hanging fruit. Right. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of teams get in those situations. not to divert away too much from the NBA, but look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is just the safest pick. There's plenty of talent there at quarterback, but he is the perceived safest pick. And everyone and their mother has the Jaguars taking him because it is the safest thing to put at the top of your mock drafts.
High floor.
And it's exactly. And it's been that way for years. But is that the right answer? We don't know. We have no idea if one of these guys will be better than him. And in the NBA, it just doesn't seem that clear cut, or it does seem that clear cut. Like LaMelo Ball, maybe he did go 3, but he probably should have gone 1, right? I mean, a team like the Golden State Warriors, they don't need Ball. They don't need him. They've got Steph. They've got Clay. That's an exact situation I'm talking about trading out of there, which I wanted them to do with my Bulls, but they just wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. They didn't want Wendell Carter. They wanted James Wiseman.
Fun fact, and this trade was a big part of it. Every Gary in the NBA traded. The trade deadline.
Every who?
Every person named Gary in the NBA was traded this year on the trade deadline. Fun fact.
That is a fun fact. I did not have that as a prop. I didn't have one Gary getting traded. Unreal.
Over under 2.5 Garys being traded.
Unreal. All right, let's move on to this next one here. We've got the Heat acquiring Victor Oladipo. The Rockets get Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and a 2022 draft pick swap. I'm not sure what round that is. But it shouldn't really matter. It's a swap.
I Heat get Oladipo. First round.
Okay, all right. Heat get Oladipo, who are a true weapon here. I don't know what the Rockets are really trying to do, so I guess the fact that they just moved a guy that they don't have to re-sign is a good thing. Where are you at on this one?
I like it. I like the move for both. I think that the Rockets need to get rid of Oladipo. We had kind of seen it from the jump that he wasn't going to be re-signing there, looking to be there long-term or anything like that. So I get that. I get trading him, and I like that they did it. I think the Heat, though, they gave up nothing for a player that's going to be consistently in there, giving you 20 plus a night, and you gave up Olynyk and Avery Bradley and a swap of firsts. Like,
it's not bad. It's not bad. I do like Kelly Olynyk though, and I think that the Heat
Kelly Olynyk's nothing more than a good role big man for you. He's not going to be the dude that puts you over anything. You can find those guys that are a dime a dozen in the NBA.
Well, I don't think that they're Mo Harkless actually Miles Leonard's gone. I mean, who's going to fill in that role, I guess, for them then? I mean, for Kelly Olynyk at the 4, because when I think of Kelly Olynyk, like I think of guys like Marcus Smart, like guys that just fit, guys that are gritty, guys that play good basketball on both ends of the court, that fill the stat sheet out, but they don't need to be the star. They're not taking questionable shots. They're always looking to make the extra pass. And I think that the Heat are a live option in their conference. Like, I really feel like they're going to be a good playoff team. But Oladipo, to me, just has a lot more questions. I feel like, with the future of this team, like, he's a pure scorer. Don't get me wrong. Like, he can close down a game for you in the fourth quarter, but how does he fit in with this offense? They have a lot of shooters already. They have Hero. They have Duncan Robinson. They have Goran Dragic coming back. Like, I feel like that's a lot of guys to be mixed into the 1 and 2 spot, and I'm not sure how they manage that.
I think he's a bit more of a slasher though than comparing any of it part of his game to Duncan Robinson. I get it. Minutes is tough between the two. But I just think it's such a different type of game where, and I do agree with you that on the front that the Heat giving up Olynyk, they definitely lose some of that size and some of those bigger guys to eat some minutes in the game. But I just don't like the return that the Rockets got just because you also have to look at what they gave up to get Oladipo. They gave up James Harden, and you turned James Harden into Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk.
So I'm saying it's not enough for me. It's not enough. That's what I'm saying. I don't love it for the Rockets. I don't know what they're doing. They're playing a bad game of NBA Monopoly. I don't know what they're doing over there. They're sitting in jail, and they're never going to land on free parking. I don't know what it is, but they're making all sorts of weird moves. I don't love it because when I saw the Heat playing very well, they were playing great defense, and Kelly Olynyk was a big part of that, and he was getting a lot of minutes, a lot of play, a lot of rack. So, I mean, that's just why I didn't love it. I think it's a good trade. I think that the Heat probably think, hey, we need more offense. We're not scoring enough. We do need that slasher. We do need that extra layer of offense. So I get that, but you gave up defense for it. You gave up gritty defense and a good two-way player in Kelly Olynyk that would be a big factor for them in the playoffs. In the regular season, you're just going to look at his line and be like, yeah, sure, we can get that from anybody. Yeah, sure, we can make that up anywhere. But that gritty play on defense, both ends of the court, being able to run the fast break, being able to take outside shots, being able to play defense in the post, I don't love it. It's not like a home run for me like the last one that we covered. So I think it's a good swap for both teams. Well, I guess I should take that back. It's not a good swap for the Rockets. We don't know what the hell the Rockets are doing.
So, if you had to grade those two up against each other, you actually like the Nuggets move more than the Heat there?
Yeah, because like I said, the Nuggets, if they want to make a deeper run, and their playoffs are much more competitive than the East. The Heat, they could. I mean, honestly, they could make it to the finals in this conference. They might have one tough matchup, but who is it? Charlotte was at 4 with barely a winning record.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that's very interesting. I just think maybe basketball philosophies just differ a little bit, but I'm actually kind of surprised to hear them the opposite way. I think the Heat benefit a little bit more than the Nuggets. But I think you're also trading two players who they don't move the needle enough for to make any of these teams serious contenders.
Well, look at who Aaron Gordon is competing for with minutes. Paul Millsap, JaMychal Green, PJ Dozier, Will Barton. Look at the guys that Oladipo is competing with, like Tyler Hero, bubble legend, right? Duncan Robinson, great three-point shooter. Goran Dragic, who is just a great point guard. And then you got Jimmy Butler there, who does work in between the 2 and 3. Like
that is fair. I never thought of it like that.
It just makes your decisions a lot harder, on offense and managing minutes and managing a roster. Like, yeah, when you need those points and you need that guy slashing the basket, he's going to be there for you. But you got to work him in. You got to get him a good dose of minutes. Does he come off the bench? Do you start him? These are all problems that Spoelstra is going to have going forward. So, I mean, we'll see what happens for the Nuggets. They just get that guy that they know that they can plug in there and just play a ton of minutes and just give him a big role and rely on him to, not just take them to the playoffs because they're going to the playoffs, but, be there to help you go up against, some stiffer competition, in the West.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Next one up, we've got Celtics adding Fournier. I really like this move. I've been watching the Celtics quite a bit, actually, since they made that move. We'll wrap it up here. The Magic get Jeff Teague and 2 future second-round picks. I mean, that's a steal. I mean, what? Come on now.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really equated to anything on the floor.
I agree with that. I like the move, and I think it was good. I think everyone knew before the trade deadline that everyone knew that the Celtics, what they had currently wasn't enough to get it done. They need to add a piece. They go out and get Fournier. But my biggest thing is it's still probably not going to be enough for that Celtics team to really put their name up there with the Nets, with the Sixers, just in the East. Then if we're talking about, including the West, they don't even hold a torch to the names of the Lakers if they're all healthy, the Jazz when they're clicking on all cylinders. So I like the trade. I think it's good that they recognize that what they were currently doing wasn't enough, thinking, hey, we got to get someone. I just don't think it's enough to put them over the top.
It doesn't look that way since the trade. I mean, believe me, when the trade happened, I was like, that's a win. Like, that's a good move. And instantly I thought in my head, I was like, and we'll get to this guy getting moved in a minute, but I was thinking like, man, what a stretch floor they could run with Kemba, Fournier, Tatum, Brown, and Thies. Like that 5 could really stretch the floor out and they could get really creative with shooting. And then they trade Thies like, I don't know, 20 minutes later. Like after I'm writing this takedown. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna bring this up on the show. This is gonna be good. And then they move Thies. Yeah. I was like, what the hell is that? I don't like that for them. We'll get to that in a minute here. But I really love it. It's just that it's not producing anything yet. And I don't know what's wrong with the Celtics. I wish Blake was here. I'll check in. I don't think he's here. Yeah, he's definitely not still here. I don't have any random missing texts, but I don't know what the problem is because they do look better. I mean, they're missing Tristan Thompson. They just traded Thies, but they still have some big guys like Robert Williams that can bang down there. So I'm not sure what's going on. Fournier was playing some solid defense so far in his first couple of games. I know he started off with 2 steals, 2 blocks. I know that gave Brad a huge boner. Loving that defense. He's got a great outside shot. He can score a lot of points for you. He can get assists, rebounds. He can stuff the stat sheet, but it's kind of like a similar situation with old boy that we just went over here, just in Oladipo. Just there might just be too many weapons there, and they may not be able to figure it out. And they've got a lot of problems there, man. I don't know
a lot of problems. It's so crazy because a couple of years ago, I mean, they were looking like a team that was going to be a perennial finals team, damn near.
Yep.
And now it's like, you guys are really a playoff team. But what's going on? I think that is a serious problem that I'm sure they're feeling it just as much as we're seeing it. But what is going on? How do you go from a top 3 team in your division or in your conference to arguably not even a playoff team? The Bulls are damn near a playoff team.
Well, they all are technically right now. Technically, the Bulls are in 10th, Boston's in 8th, and Indiana's in 9th. And we're like the Bulls are behind them. I don't know who's behind the Bulls, but it's not by much, and it's close. Like they could overtake us for 10. So the Bulls will probably be looking at Indiana or Boston in that like play-in round, which gives some upside to both of those teams. But whatever.
On that, a little bit off topic, but I want to touch on that because DraftKings last weekend started offering Bulls plus 250 odds boosted to make the playoffs. Do they do it?
Yeah, I'm all about it. I mean, they got
out then.
Oh well, no, they're in because the 10th spot is in.
Yeah, that doesn't count though. They have to. They have to make.
Then no.
Yeah.
Then no.
Okay.
I mean, if
I agree with that. To be honest,
if they can play in, like for example, like if they win the play-in game and then they're in. Then if that bet hits, then I would still say yes. I think they can play in. I think they could play their way in.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm still trying to get a feel after the trade we'll talk about here in a second. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I get it that this trade was to bring in a big name, but the game sense, it's also like, are they in kind of a tank, just still be shit for one more year?
Who, the Magic?
No, the Bulls.
I
don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're really playing to even make the playoff. I mean, like, they're obviously.
We'll get to that one in a minute because I have a long-winded whole thing about that. So we'll get to that one in a minute. So to wrap that up, the Celtics still fleeced the Magic for Fournier. What we get out of it remains to be seen. So far, it hasn't been great. I still think it's a good move for them. Let's jump into the next one. We can just go into the Bulls one. I'll scroll down a little bit here. So the Bulls, they had a huge haul.
I love it. I first off, never a big fan of Wendell Carter. Otto Porter had flashes, bit of injuries, and a brutal contract.
Yep.
I obviously those 2 future first round picks could turn into something big for the Magic. So I think it's good. I really think this is a win-win trade for everybody. I think that I really do think that those picks could turn into something for the Magic if the Bulls falter. But I also think, in the new GM for the Bulls kind of alluded to it, that they had to go out and get a star because that's how you land players in free agency. You don't just wish to get your first star in other than Levine in free agency. That's not going to lure anyone to Chicago.
Well, we traded for Levine, and this trade was the best trade we've made since the Levine trade.
Yep.
Facts. Like that's it. Because we're going to get to keep Zach LaVine because we signed Vooch. And that right there opens up for a threesome. Maybe you get Colby White, who develops a little bit. Maybe you get, I'm not going to say it, but Zadaransky could develop a nice little role for himself there if he can really catch stride with Vucevic, which I'm seeing. Like, I really do see a connection there between those two, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far here. But if we can get, I don't think Lauri Markkanen is going to stick around, but he could. He could. But I think that we should go out and try to get someone elite at that position and not Lauri Markkanen, someone that can, bring us more than just 3-point shooting. Sorry, Lori. I like you, but I don't love you. Sorry about you. Getting Wendell Carter off our roster was a biggest win of the whole thing. Like getting rid of that dude, using his cap for a guy like Vucevic. Are you kidding me? We fleeced him.
I agree.
I don't care what anybody says. We won. Big dubs. Bulls by $1 billion in this trade. Whatever euphemism you want to use. They won. They won. They won. The Magic don't even know who they are. They don't know what they're going to use those picks on. They don't even know what players they're scouting for those picks, because if they're lucky, one of them will be a lottery pick. And maybe that lottery pick maybe gets lucky and climbs close somewhere to the top 5. It still doesn't matter. It's a huge question mark. With the Bulls, they got Vooch. They've got Zach LaVine. Maybe they keep Laurie. I don't know. I'm thinking not. But realistically, we go to free agency this season with more upside to sign a star than we've had in 8 years, 10 years. I don't care what anybody says. Like, this is the moment right now, and I love it. The Bulls are going all in. They have an outside chance to make a run this year. It gives you some upside for 2021. It gives you much more upside for the future. What's not to like? Like, draft picks.
I agree.
What have we been doing with draft picks? We just drafted Patrick Williams that we could have drafted in the second round.
That's why I think it's a win-win for both teams, because if this doesn't do enough for the Bulls, it gives the Magic some players to try and retool with, hopefully hit one of them. But for the Bulls, we weren't hitting at those picks. We weren't hitting at the number 7 draft pick. So ship them out of town, get us a star. I'm happy the Bulls pulled this. We haven't seen, like you said, we haven't seen a trade like this. And if you really even think about it, when we went out and got LaVine, we didn't even get this good of a deal. We gave up assets.
A lot.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I really do like that where this is putting the Bulls for the future. Future free agency alone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to kind of segue with the Bulls, we do have that Thies trade that we got Daniel Thies, which is kind of weird to me. This
He's having a good year, though. He's having a really good year.
So he was having a good year, but he's not going to be used the same in Chicago. We just traded for Vooch. Yeah. So I don't get it. I really don't. Like, I like Thies more on Boston or with Boston on the Celtics. This trade is just weird for me. So the Bulls get Daniel Thies, Javonte Green, Troy Brown Jr. from the Wizards. The Celtics get Luke Cornett. Okay, fine. You take Luke Cornett. They get Mo Wagner from the Wizards. The Wizards get Daniel Gafford from the Bulls and Chandler Hutchinson for the Bulls. Peace out, Hutch. I really liked Hutch. I really did. Wanted him to develop into something. I don't like this trade for anybody, Steve. Who benefits in this trade?
I mean, I think you kind of saw it a bit, that it was just kind of a shuffling of players, of a bunch of just players. Mo Wagner just kind of getting thrown in there. I really agree with you on that this one doesn't move the needle at all for anyone who's a fan of the NBA.
Mo Wagner, Luke Cornett, and Daniel Thies are the same guy.
Yes. 100%.
Like, they do all the same things. Like, oh, hey, that guy actually can shoot outside. Cool. Oh, he gets rebounds too. Oh, he's a big, tall, white guy. Dope. Like, what the hell? Like, they're the same players here. What are we doing, guys? Maybe they're moving cap around. I didn't get that one. Don't love it. As a Bulls fan, I like having Thies. I would just like to see him get more minutes. Let's put him at the 4. Let's go really big out there. Let's see what we can get. Put some towers out there to grab some boards and put Colby and LaVine back there and just let him shoot the lights out for a bit. You know?
Agreed.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get back to the top here. We've got let's see. Oh, the Mavs and the Pelicans trade. Very interesting one. JJ Reddick and Nicolo Melli traded to the Pelicans, to the Mavericks. The Pelicans get James Johnson, Wes Iwundu, cash considerations, and a second-round pick. I mean, I think the Mavericks came out on top on this one, no?
I agree with that. They obviously get JJ Reddick, who has a big specialty, but also I think the thing that came out of this trade was the fireworks that JJ Reddick kind of dropped recently on his podcast.
You might know more about that than I do, because I literally sat down to watch that on my lunch today because I wanted to know about it. And they're doing the whole introduction, and him and his co-host start talking about tacos, and my phone rings while I'm eating like some leftover Little Caesars pizza, and it doesn't stop ringing for like an hour. So I didn't watch it. So what happened here?
Yeah, I mean, it was more of JJ Reddick. I think he didn't really know. I think he had an idea he might be traded.
Hmm.
I don't think he got it fully conveyed to him by the Pelicans front office, and he came out and said, "Honesty is not something you're going to get from this front office," which
Ooh.
that's a big thing when you have the number one pick in Zion, who's still down there, and we have seen this dating. And granted, I get it that there's a bit of different people in the front office, but
Hmm.
we've seen it from CP3 was their guy. They couldn't figure it out with him. Anthony Davis was their guy. They couldn't figure it out with him. And not saying JJ Redick's on that level, but he's
No,
bringing to light a big issue. They're not going to get
he
anyone to come there.
he's a big personality in the NBA. JJ Redick,
Mm-hmm.
big
And
personality.
very, very well liked, I feel like.
Oh, and yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why he does the podcast. It's not for fun. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what anybody says. The man's gearing up for the next big thing. I mean, hopefully we see him on TNT. Giving some play by play or with the crew here or whatever. I mean, he's going to be awesome at it. And yeah, the Pelicans. I mean, they just they have a history of just running a shit program in general, right? If you look at their medical team, Anthony Davis was very. I think he had more conflicts with them than he did with the front office, but still had big problems with them. Obviously, right? They didn't want to pay up. They couldn't get him stars. I mean, in this deal alone, I mean, the Mavs that they make out like kings, adding more depth on the wings for shooting. Obviously, they're running all those pick and pops for Luka, so that's going to open up things for him. I think Luka and Melli, obviously, they got that Euro connection there, and I think anyone that's wide open like JJ Redick for Luka, they're going to connect, pretty quickly here. So I think they're going to fit really well in that bunch. I don't think it necessarily blows up their playoff odds. Like, oh, they got those guys, they're going to make a big run now. I just think it kind of lends more for their offense. Like, okay, we can get some more shooters in here,
Exactly. I think it's a bit of a role player that can come up big at times, and maybe move you from, I don't know, middle of the pack ish to a little bit better, and from game to game he'll add more and he'll add less. So I do like that trade, and they gave up nothing. They really
exactly. I would have thought for sure to get those guys, they would have had to at least give up one of Finney Smith, Hardaway Jr., or Richardson. One of them, because that was when I was getting my next part into is those three guys plus these two coming in. That's a lot of shooters, man. That's a lot of options at all time, and none of those guys demand a ton of minutes. Yep. None of them. So they can. I mean, they can do anything they want down there with this bunch. I mean, obviously Luka's going to be playing a ton. It does give him some opportunity. Maybe Brunson takes kind of a hit here. Maybe he gets a few less minutes. He's been playing pretty well though.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's still going to eat at times. I do think from games that are really close that he does lose some minutes, but I think he plays a different role from where JJ Redick is. I think JJ Redick really gets put in for situational type shooting, get in that, where I think there's still some rollout, let Jalen Brunson kind of get his footing underneath him and just kind of control what's going on with that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great move for the Mavericks. Pelicans, I don't love it for you guys. You're not that far out of a 10 spot, a play in. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I also don't like that Zion wasn't playing tonight. Got that funny mustache bet with Blake. I need Zion in. I need him playing. Minutes equal points. Let's go. He was moving up though. He moved up to I think number 7 in the league for most points scored. So let's go Zion. Keep it rolling here. All right, next one up, we've got the Clippers getting Rajon Rondo for actually quite a bit for Rajon Rondo. Lou Williams, second round pick, 2027 second round pick. My God, waiting to cash that one in. My goodness, I didn't know we could trade picks for 2027.
I think the Thunder already have 5 in that draft, so I think that's when I think you learn. No, I'm just kidding. I think I know that they did trade. They have multiple from that draft, though.
Okay, 2027. They must know something about that year that we don't. Is that LeBron's kid?
I was going to say, is that Bronny? Because it very well probably could be. I don't know. So, I feel like he's a sophomore in high school, so he's got two more to go, and then probably one and done. Yeah, that's still a little early.
LeBron's kid not going to be one and done. Oh, please. if he doesn't go to Europe like LaMelo, like if he doesn't go play for like like Barcelona. Like let's just go put them on a big name. I really don't know who a big Euro team name is, by the way, for basketball. Sorry, soccer kicked in there. All right. Clippers, though, they get Rajon Rondo, man. What a bunch of dogs they got over there. Rondo, George, Kawhi, like put Marcus Morrison, put Serge in there. That's some gritty dudes, man. I'm not saying Rondo's going to start, but, man, that's a gritty squad.
I think just having Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo on the same team should be illegal.
That's terrifying.
That's a team you don't want to see necessarily, in the backyard or anything, because they will whoop your ass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not literally. If they don't win, they're gonna whoop the shit out of you. Like they're gonna belt your ass, man. They'll take it out on you. I love this move, to be perfectly honest with you. Rondo wasn't doing anything for Atlanta whatsoever, so I think this is great. I think it's a perfect fit with Clippers and that bunch that I just mentioned. I think it's a home run.
Agreed.
All right, next up we've got the Nuggets getting JaVale McGee for the Cavs, who get Isaiah Hartenstein, stud of the Cavs now. He's a star, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, this is nothing. I mean, did anyone win this trade?
What was that?
Did anyone win this trade?
No, this one doesn't move the needle at all. I think it's probably a little too soon to tell too which way it goes.
Yeah, let's get to some bigger ones here. Norman Powell going to the Blazers for the Raptors, Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. I feel like the Blazers came out on top on this one. I feel like they're the winner here.
Is this like I feel like this is the 10th time Rodney Hood has been traded.
Yeah, well,
right?
Yeah. Sometimes you're good at something. Sometimes it's not basketball. Sometimes it's getting traded.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Who was everyone? Can you go over it one more time?
Blazers get Norman Powell. Raptors get Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood.
Yes, actually, I love this. I love this trade for the Trailblazers. I didn't know where Powell was going to go, and then this was better. I thought maybe he would go to a team like Memphis or something like that, but he goes to a team that's a little bit more ready for the playoffs. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. No, Blazers home run, A+. Raptors, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, if you weren't going to keep Norman Powell, get a draft pick out of this, get another like actual scorer. I would have wanted back Carmelo at least.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, over Rodney Hood, give me Gary Trent Jr. and Carmelo, or maybe even Covington. They wouldn't have given that up. That wouldn't have been on the table. But I really love what he adds to the Blazers. With McCollum coming back, those two alone, that should really push the needle for the Trailblazers, who are in the hunt for a top seed in the West now. I mean, they're really in it. Lillard kept them afloat, amidst all of these injuries. So adding a guy like Norman Powell with McCollum coming back, with what they've gotten out of Enes Kanter, I think it's golden. I think it's great. I think it's a home run for the Blazers, and it puts them in a great position to make a strong run here.
Agreed.
All right, cool. So that wraps up, all of the trade deadline moves and our takes from that. Let's look quickly here at the adjusted playoff odds, and then we'll close out with some live betting here. So right now, man, it is so far down this damn page. Here we go. Brooklyn Nets. We're going to go top 5 here. Brooklyn Nets plus 225. Lakers plus 290. Clippers plus 575. Utah Jazz plus 850. And Milwaukee Bucks plus 900. These are odds to win the NBA championship here. After some of these moves, don't really see a lot of these teams that made moves in the mix here. Actually, the Lakers, I guess they got Andre Drummond. We got the buyout, but he already got hurt. You see that? He already got hurt.
Yep. Big toe injury already.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Come on, Andre Drummond. You're supposed to come in and help out. What are you doing? Lakers really don't get a boost there. What are you thinking of these top teams?
I actually kind of I think this is one of the better numbers that you've seen the Lakers be at lately, right? I think because of the injuries that have hit their team, go in there, snag yourself some Lakers. That way they're going to be in one of those final teams that are lasting. So go out there, go grab them for plus 290. I think that's where I see the value at.
I don't know, man. I'm really worried about this Laker team, actually. They need these guys to get back here soon, like Anthony Davis, like LeBron James. Obviously, they got Andre Drummond, but the dude just got hurt. Like, I mean, what the hell's going on here? So they may fall. I'm worried that they may catch a team like, a hot team like the Nuggets or even the Jazz if they fall deep enough in the second round. So I do think that there's a lot of upside for them to make the Final Four. We just need to see these guys back, and we need to see them healthy. Don't get me wrong. That lineup would be crazy lineup. If they actually start Drummond and Davis on the floor at the same time with LeBron, Dennis Schroeder, imagine if they put Kuzma out there. Imagine if they put Kuzma out there during that. Oh my God. Or if they just had Kuzma and Drummond coming off the bench. My goodness. This team could be very, very dangerous. Just right now, with the way that they look injury-wise, it's hard for me to lay any shekels on that. To be perfectly honest with you, loving the Jazz still, riding them out. Fair. They are a Final Four team if I have ever seen one right now in the NBA. They are a lock for a Final Four. So if just going off of that alone, I'm just going to ride with them, and they've got the value at plus 850. That
is also a killer number there.
Yeah, with a guy like Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench, do you need a pure star?
I don't know. I still believe in that stars run the show, but it's hard to keep betting against the Jazz. I've been saying that all year. I've thought this would have trickled out, that this would not still be a thing, but they're still firing on all cylinders.
No, they're still one of the hottest teams in the NBA. I had their lineup pulled up for tomorrow. I just wanted to get at it really quick. Rudy Gobert, Donnie Mitchell, are they stars now? Are they that tier of player that we can just feel comfortable with saying, they can go to toe-to-toe with the Clipper level, stars, with the Laker level stars,
I think defensively you could say that about Gobert. I think offense is probably lacking a little bit. I still think Donovan Mitchell has a little bit of a ways to go.
Yeah, we can say that, but at the same time, you have guys like Bogdanovich and Ingles, filling in for that scoring, from the paint, because Bogdanovich actually does play the 4 as well as the 3, right? Royce O'Neal can bang as well. They traded for Ilyasova, I believe, recently. So I think he helps out a little bit of the scoring, but he's not a big body guy. And Derek Favors is chips in as well behind Gobert. So I'm still riding them out. Oop. Did we lose Steve? I think we lost Steve. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I'm going to ride Gobert out. I do feel like those guys are star level players right now in the league, and I feel really comfortable, picking them to make a big run to the championship here. We'll see if we get Steve back here. I'm not sure what happened, if he lost power over there or what, or just internet went out. Looking at some of these other teams here, 76ers plus 1,200 right now to take home the ship. Denver Nuggets plus 2,000. That's really solid after that Aaron Gordon trade. If you guys are high on them, definitely throw a few shekels towards the Nuggets here. Miami Heat plus 2,800 after the Oladipo trade. Doesn't really do anything for me, but they have pretty high odds for an Eastern Conference team. Third highest up there behind the Bucks and the 76ers. So I was talking them up a little bit earlier. Looks like the books are adjusting as well. They're liking them a little bit more after the Oladipo trade. Man, behind them are the Celtics, the next highest team in the East, and we were talking about how bad they've been. That's crazy, at plus 3,300, and they have just not been the same team. They're not playing great at home. Typically they're a very profitable team on the spread at home, but recently that hasn't been the case. They're losing on the road. They're losing games at home. I cashed in on the Mavericks yesterday up against them. That seemed kind of easy to me, given the matchups. But man, the books still hold them in high regards coming out of the East there. So that's very interesting. Rounding out the bottom here, you have the really big numbers, and the Timberwolves, Rockets, Pistons, and Thunder, all 15,000 plus 15,000. So take that as high leverage for your draft order. High leverage if you want to get in on some props for picking teams to finish at a certain place here on the year. There he is. What happened?
I'm back. I don't know. I dropped it for some reason.
It's all right.
Next thing you know, I said I was out of the studio.
I got my Colin Cowherd on. We were getting into
it. You hate Baker?
No. Poor Baker. Poor Baker. Cowherd's always shitting on Baker. He's not going to be Russell Wilson. No, by the way.
That's not a franchise QB. He saw aliens.
Exactly. By the way, do you know who Russ Wilson is? He's made of gold. He's human MVP. I was saying the books are still holding the Celtics in very high regard. The Heat, who we were talking up earlier, they're the third highest Eastern Conference team for odds to win the championship, and the Celtics are right behind them. The Celtics are in eighth. They're last, or not last, but last playoff team in right now, if you're not counting in the play-in teams.
And
the books are still loving them.
That, I was going to say, I guess maybe if it's just all clicking at the right time, but I don't see how, and I'm not saying the Trailblazers are anything too crazy, and they obviously play in a way tougher conference, but I like the Portland Trailblazers to be better than the Boston Celtics. I mean, straight up. It has to be more of the odds have to be because of more of the path to what it would be to win the finals. That's the only thing I could think of, because the Celtics being that high is as a 8-9 seed.
To me, crazy. That just shows the books shows how much the books love Tristan Thompson and how much they believe that he's a factor on this team, because right now to me he's the missing piece. They need Kemba playing in every damn game, whether it's a back-to-back or not. They need Tatum at the top of his game, Brown back at the top of his game. He was killing it to start the year. They need Tristan Thompson banging in the paint, and they need a mix of Marcus Smart playing great on both ends of the floor, and Evan Fournier really adding a boost on offense.
Yeah.
That's what they need. Other than Tristan Thompson doing his thing in the paint, they'll probably need another guy to contribute back down there. But I think right now it's kind of asking a lot out of them, and I think that's holding them a little bit too high. I like the Heat. I like the Heat at the plus 2,800. This is a team that still has a chip on their shoulder, losing in the finals last year. Getting that little brother treatment, I think, from the NBA. Like, you just kind of made it there. You just kind of fluked your way in. I feel like after that move, like we were talking about with Oladipo, if they get that extra offense that they need, the defense is still there. I mean, like I said, I don't love it because I think Olynyk did provide that, size, that size and that leverage on defense, right? I think that was a big piece of their success, when they, took a big run to get back to 500. We'll see if Oladipo can contribute on the same level. Yeah, and you definitely,
losing Myers Leonard, that's another big that you had from. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a huge loss for them, because I think he needs to go figure out a bunch of other shit in his life. Yeah. But how he got traded to Utah, by the way, he fleeced Miami. Like, what the hell? Like, that guy deserves to go back to U of I. He could go play for them or go coach them or go Oklahoma City. He's a hillbilly. Or, the pride of Robinson, Illinois. Yeah, right. I remember him I remember him dunking over a kid in the state playoffs from back in the day. But yeah, it seems like his NBA career is probably a little shoddy. My generation, Steve, our class, our boys got dunked on or got their faces smashed in by JaVale McGee. All right, I do remember that. We got our boys got beat. Our Grant Park boys got beat. I think like 79 to 6 or something like that. And JaVale McGee put up 30, I don't know, something ridiculous. I'm just paraphrasing these numbers here. I absolutely have no idea. I just remember every guy in the basketball team just being livid about it. Just I don't want to do this. This is fucking stupid. You got to think JaVale McGee in high school probably looked how LeBron does in the NBA. He probably looked like LeBron in high school. Oh yeah, when he's dunking in pregame and just you're looking over there holy fuck! Again, it's a bunch against Fulton from the Mighty Ducks taking slap shots. Oh yeah. Oh god, golly! I remember when we would go into BBCHS in middle school. Oh please, let me go home. I don't want to be here. I'm terrible at basketball. And I'm getting minutes. I'm getting minutes tonight. Fuck. This is not the game I want to come into. This is not great. This is not swell. Back to it here. Some of these teams that I like with outside shots, kind of teams that you mentioned, like the Trailblazers. Look at the Dallas Mavericks at plus 5,000. I like that a lot, actually. Mavericks at plus 5,000. If you look at the company that they're surrounded by there,
The Celtics, bad. The Trailblazers, pretty good, pretty even, I'd say. Even odds, plus 5,000 for both. The Pacers, not going to win the ship. The Raptors, right behind them, not going to win the ship. If you look at teams ahead of the Mavericks, Celtics, Suns, good run potentially for the Suns. They're at what is it, plus 2,800. That's pretty decent. I like that too, actually. But again, I don't think that they have the all of the weapons to finish. I'll say the Miami Heat right ahead of them. I would still put the Mavericks ahead of the Heat, ahead of the Nuggets still, even though the Nuggets did just reload with Aaron Gordon. 76ers are ahead of them. I would probably put the Mavericks right behind the 76ers, who are at plus 1,200. So I think the Mavericks hold a lot of value. They've been climbing, and they've shown some really gritty play. They've actually been playing a lot better defense. They have Luka, and to me, that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, really, I would agree with that. And they've added some of those just pieces that you see that good teams do that. They added a three-point shooter. They have rebounders. They have perimeter defenders. I think they do have a decent all-around team. I could see it. I don't know if it's enough necessarily. That's the thing. If I could get some of these numbers for them just to win their conference, I think there's a chance that some of these teams could make a run at it. But to win it all, it's like,
well, it's going to be interesting because you got to check out this NBA playoff bracket, the way that it's shaping up. So the way that it's going to be right now, if the playoffs ended, right, the 7 and 8 actually have to play a game to decide who is the 7 and 8 seed.
oh,
right?
wow.
So they could actually draw the first seed, or they could draw the second seed. It just depends on how that game plays out. So they would have to play the Spurs in one game. They're one game ahead of them, 25-21 to the Spurs, 24-21. We'll see how that game shakes out tonight for the Spurs. But they would play that game. The winner of that game, the loser. I'm sorry. What is it? Oh my gosh, it's killing me. The winner of that game plays the winner of the 9 and 10 game. That's who they play. And then the winner of that game gets to be the 8 seed. The loser of that game goes to the 7 seed. So it's going to be really weird. They could either wind up playing the Suns or the Jazz to start the playoffs. If they play the Suns, that's a great series, Steve. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like the Mavericks could upset the Suns in 7 games. I really believe that.
And I really think the reason for that would be Luka. Like you kind of alluded to it. Like Luka is that team. And,
exactly.
And I think that would be a guy I don't want to match up against in the playoffs because magic happens in the playoffs.
I don't think Luka wants to match up with Chris Paul, but he has a height advantage. He's got a really big height advantage on Chris Paul. Chris Paul will be able to play some decent defense, but he can shoot over him.
I was going to say, he'd be like that gnat that just when you're sweaty, it just constantly keeps bothering you. But that's what Chris Paul is to him. Eventually, you just knock it away and you do you, you know?
Exactly. So I think that would be a great series. I would be all about that. Do you have any other ones to close out the championship odds here?
Yes, I just want to give a shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves plus 200,000. No, I'm just playing.
It's 20,000. It's 20,000.
Oh, I thought that was 200. Too many zeros.
Yeah. No, I actually went into that when you went out. I just said, so you can pull these teams here.
No, Justin, that is 200,000.
No, oh, is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think
200,000 to 1 if you want to take a run on the Timberwolves. My bad. I was saying that
reason, folks. Don't take it.
Well, I was saying that you could use that as leverage towards props for your top 5 picks in the draft if you want to lay some props on that.
Exactly.
The Timberwolves, the Rockets, Pistons, and Thunder. Those are all live options there. So if that's what you're into, that's some pretty deep betting there. I was listening tonight in a clubhouse about a guy trying to rationalize how spreading your money around on home run props is just as profitable or likely to hit as it is like just your regular money line and spreads. And man, they burned that dude down. Wow.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Like he was giving like good information, like, oh, well, you can back it up with like BPI and wind and trends and so and so, and we were all just kind of like, well, yeah, you can do that, with just games too. So.
Yeah. Did you see? This is kind of off topic, and I want to reel it back in, but someone actually had the Miggy Cabrera first home run prop.
Nice.
Sweet. I think it was like plus 4,500 or something like that.
You said it was Melky?
Yeah. No, Miggy. Miguel Cabrera for the Detroit Tigers. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Good for them.
Cool.
I wish I would have had that.
I don't care. I don't bet on baseball that much. I'll start getting into it once I get some trends. Once I get some numbers, I'll put some covers down. Somebody to cover a 1.5 or something like that. Just if it just seems right. But baseball's a crazy fucking sport, man. It's a crazy sport.
I thought we would have it to the Hizzy league this year. A little disappointed.
Hey, next year, Steve, you want to run baseball?
I'll head it up. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be commish.
Oh, the league. I was saying for the show, because I said, I was like,
no.
Anybody wants to run a baseball pod, I support you. This is your platform. I have created it, so you shall make it. If I build it, they will come.
We'll get it. It's in the works. We'll say 20 something. It'll be here.
Nick, any of you guys want to run it together. I don't care. I'm not going to be on it. I'll be in the chat.
To be fair, you've been running around like a madman, so I understand that for sure.
A little bit. Look at me right now. My God.
You have no hair, and
I look like a character out of Malibu's Most Wanted. Like I'm about to show up with my fucking harpoon at the sports book, ready to lay some shekels on the Timberwolves to make a run at the first overall pick.
Yeah, right.
Or some Euro basketball.
You've hit like true degenerate status.
I'm trying. I'm climbing to it. Speaking of degenerate status, let's close out the show with some live betting. So let's jump into some of these live numbers right now. Wow, the 76ers are destroying the number. We thought 9.5 was maybe a little too much. No, not enough. Right now we're looking at a 23.5 point spread as the 76ers lead over the Cavs 112-88. I'm going to stay away from the 23 and yeah, I mean, this game's over. It's like 2.5 minutes left, but wow, there's nothing really to bet there actually because that game's pretty much over.
Have you looked at the box score for this game? It's actually this is very interesting to see. So
how's Hazerstein doing?
Hazerstein
getting rebounds.
He's 6 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, not bad. But I guess it's the more telling is over here on the Sixers, 27 from Shake Milton, 19 from Seth Curry, 18 from Dwight Howard. Ben Simmons has 5 points. I don't think I could have predicted that.
Oh, that's rich. That is rich. How many assists does Simmons have? At least over 7. Come on, brother.
No, 5. Only 5, but he's killing it on the rebounds. He's got 13 rebounds.
Okay, I was going to say, do something. Ben Simmons, that's funny. That's a good one. All right, let's move on to the next one. That game's pretty much over. Actually, most of these games are over. Shit. Pistons are going to take home the Wizards. We were on the Pistons. That's an awesome call on us. Pat ourselves in the back there. Pistons got 2 minutes left. 115-87. Did Rui hit the prop? Where did Rui finish at? He can't be in the game anymore.
You had him at what, I believe, 16.5? Ooh.
Yeah.
Only 10 points.
Bro, he had 8 in the first quarter. What happened?
He's gotten run. He played 30 minutes. Just seems like he has not been hitting.
That's wild. That's crazy. Up here, I got the Nets and the Hornets, a game that is actually not over yet. We've got 1:48 left in the third. I've got the Hornets down by 29. I'm looking at a spread of plus 25.5. Can they cover it? We've got time left on this one. We can call it. Plus 25.5. Can they cover?
Oh, yeah. Plus 25.5.
No, they can't, Steve. I've been watching this one. They're missing open shots like crazy. Don't do it, Steve. Don't do it. The Nets are going to go up by more. Just watch. This is crazy. The Hornets are playing very bad.
I was going to say, I'm looking at this box score, and I started with the Nets, and really They're doing good. Jeff Green's having a phenomenal game, 21 points, 8 rebounds. But no one's necessarily standing out and having that's a crazy game for Jeff Green, but no one else is having a crazy game. Hornets just look to be that bad.
I don't get
it.
Two
people in double digits.
They're playing on the road, but man, this team has been good. Like I said, they've covered 7 out of their last 10. Good teams win. Great teams cover. Okay,
yes,
if you're covering, that means you're in it. That means you're in the game. They're down by 29. They're about to be down by 30. This is ridiculous. And vice versa. The Nets have not been covering. They've been winning, but they haven't been blowing teams out. 8-2 in their last 10. 2-8 ATS in their last 10. God, the trend's killing me. How many rebounds does Clarkson have?
What number do you have it at? 6.5, I believe.
Yeah.
5. Okay. You're probably going to hit that. Yeah,
6.
You're probably going to hit that.
He just hit 6. He just hit 6. As we said, let's go. Fire it up. Thanks for that, Steve. Appreciate it. All right, next one we've got. Oh shit, we're not betting on hockey tonight. Let's get out of that.
Let's do that hockey.
All right, next up, we've got the Heat over the Warriors by 5, 59-54. Live total right now is 221, and they've got it as a pick'em. They're not even giving the Warriors a spread. We're at halftime, so I guess that makes sense. I'm gonna take the Heat. I've been riding them. They've got them at minus 220, so the books are on them too. Only up 5 points at minus 220. I like that a lot. Give me the Heat to win.
I agree with that. And didn't we have a monkey knife fight? Did we have a monkey knife fight for this?
I had under for Steph and over for Jimmy.
Okay, so it looks like Jimmy is at 9 points, so we got a little bit to go there. And
halfway there.
We could see that. Steph's at 10 right now.
12 points. Yeah. So they're about even. I mean, Steph looks better to hit the under, actually.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I should have rolled with that. I had him at under 27.5, and I deleted it from my bet slip. Gosh, darn it.
I told you, man, that it was going to be a weird night from them traveling all the way to Miami.
Yep.
And I still like the under 221. I think that's still going to be money. All right, next up we've got the Pelicans losing to the Magic. We were also on the Magic tonight. We didn't have the balls to take a money line, but 52-45, they're covering the spread. Right now, the sportsbook has them as a pick'em. I like the Magic here. Right now, you're getting the Pelicans at plus 125, and the Magic are now down to minus 155. Hammer that.
Yeah, this is a wild game. What were you saying? A hammer there though?
Hammer the Magic on the pick'em.
Okay, yeah,
minus 155. Hammer that.
Yeah, I actually really like that. For the Pelicans, nobody's getting it done. I mean, well, one person is, and I think you actually had bet this. Alexander Walker points.
I had him over 20 and a half.
He's got 16 right now at halftime, so you're looking good there.
How's Terrence Ross look? I got him over 17 and a half.
Terrence Ross is at 17, or it's not 17, 7 points right now.
Okay. We're okay. We're all right. We can do better. We can do better, Terrence.
But you can work with that. I
can work with that. I mean, Terrence Ross is a scorer, man. He was just hurt for a while. He came back, and I think he dropped 15 his last game, so I wasn't afraid of that number. I like him a lot. Next one up, we've got the Hawks over the Spurs. Fair amount for a pick'em, 44-36. Steve and I were both on the Hawks tonight, so that's looking good going our way. Right now, the Hawks are 3.5 on the spread. Spurs are it just moved to plus 4.5 to Spurs. Over under here is at 218. 5:30 left in the second. This doesn't make me feel comfortable. I said to wait until we get this one live. I still don't feel good about it. They just moved it to 216, so with only one basket scored, it's only 2 points scored. They moved it down 2 points. I don't like that. I think we should trend to the under here, Steve.
Yeah, I agree. You saw you're just actually seeing the Spurs in general really struggling to score. First quarter only put up 22 points.
Nice.
And I think this might be one of those games that starts to snowball. if Atlanta starts to run away with it, Spurs might just say, "Hey, let's mail it in for the night."
Well, the Spurs are actually
under.
up in this quarter here. They're leading by 2 in only the second, so 14-12 in the second quarter. But they were down by 10, in the first here. So they're showing that fight and that kind of grit to kind of even it out here. So I think that's why we're going to hit the under, is because Atlanta, they'll have their little lull. Spurs will come back, and they're going to keep this one even. Like I said, I still think there's upside to the.
What's
to
the
overtime.
spread at? You said right now
4.5, but they just locked it though, so they're probably going to change it again. It's at 4.5 points though.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it, but I really do think the Hawks might run away with something like this.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, that's all the live bets here. We're all caught up. We still have a couple of games that are getting ready to take off here. One of my favorites tonight was still Jokic over 7.5 assists and a Denver win. That one's still live for me, but it looks like Charlotte's gonna crash my parlay rather than cash it. I had them and Denver at -2, so not happy about it. You got anything to close out the show, Steve?
Nothing. Tune in next week. We're going to be drafting fictional basketball movies. It'll be a good time for sure. Guests coming on. It'll be a great time.
Yep, we'll have Nick Scripp from P2W Fantasy joining us next Wednesday, 7:35 Eastern. And yeah, as Steve said, we are going to do a basketball movie bracket. So 16 movies getting broken down. If you have any recommendations for us, hit us up on Twitter. I'm at TITTHJB. Steve's at Stephen Hammond, spelled with a PH with a fat. Or you can hit us up at To The Hizzy on Twitter as well. Let us know what movies we should be considering. I don't know how I'm going to do this categorically, right? Like there's some movies that you see on these lists all the time, like Basketball Diaries. It's a basketball movie, but you know how much we actually talk about basketball versus drugs? You know what I mean? The first part of the movie is about basketball. It's awesome. It's cool. But it's also mostly
about is winning it all.
Yeah, right. Or like Blue Chips, you know what I mean? Like something like that. I feel like really about basketball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we're bringing in Basketball Diaries, I'm bringing in Luck of the Irish, all right, from Disney Channel.
Channel.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like that's a basketball movie if Basketball Diaries is.
It's like throwing One Tree Hill in there is
exactly. Exactly. It's One Tree Hill is very about basketball, but it's a television show, so it doesn't count.
Fair. Movies only.
Movies only. So we'll get into it next week. We're looking forward to it. We'll have a little bit of fun. And we'll have some other stuff planned. Take care. Be well. We'll see you next time. Be good. And if you can't be good at it. We'll see you. Take care.
Sure.